Hi everyone, my name is Michael and this is Michael and the Mic with New Talent Fashion. Today I'm going to be discussing the Met Gala and everything you need to know before September 13th. The Met Gala is an annual fundraiser for the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. It is seen as one of the most successful and exclusive events in New York City and maybe even the world. It averages about raising 12 million US dollars for the museum, and a ticket starts at $30,000. The Met Gala is usually held on the first Tuesday of every May to mark the opening of the fashion exhibit at the Costume Institute at the museum. Now, discussing the guest list of this event could be a whole different video on its own. It's one of the most exclusive events in the world, and a ticket starts at $30,000, like I said. So being invited to this is a pretty big deal and just shows that you were someone crucial in the fashion industry the previous year. The first ever Met Gala was in 1948 and was organized by Eleanor Lambert, who was a famous fashion publicist at the time. It was in order to raise money for the newly founded Costume Institute at the Met. The first few decades of the fundraiser being held, it really wasn't as affluent as it is today. It was $50 for a ticket and just a dinner, and it was filled with mostly just affluent people in New York City. It wasn't until 1972 when Diana Vreeland started to work for the Costume Institute and made the event a little bit more glamorous. She started to invite celebrities as well as the affluent, rich society of New York City. And this made the event stand out a little bit more than any other charitable fundraiser around the city. Just because there were a lot of these events around New York City, the Met Gala really didn't stand out. So by inviting celebrities as well as the elite classes of New York, it made it become more of a glamorous dinner event rather than just a charity event. And ever since then, the event has just grown more and more exclusive, yet more and more popular. People really started to find out about it, and they realized if you were someone, you would be invited. For the last decade or so, the red carpet before the Met Gala is actually live streamed on TV, and many people tune in from around the world to watch it. Not only are people watching just to see who's invited, they're also watching to see what people are wearing, and it's because the dress code of every year's Met Gala matches the theme of the fashion exhibit at the Costume Institute. Over the years, we've seen some iconic looks worn by some iconic people dressed by iconic designers. Like in 2015, we saw Rihanna wearing this gorgeous gown. And then 2019, we have the iconic dress by Lady Gaga where she actually did multiple outfit changes. Could never forget Celine Dion in this gorgeous beaded dress. And Billy Porter really pushing the boundary on gender norms. Now that I've given you guys a little bit of a background about what the Met Gala is, let's talk about this upcoming theme that's happening in September. Now, it is happening in September because COVID did postpone it from May, and unfortunately the 2020 Met Gala got canceled. This year's theme is actually the first installment of a two-part exhibit, and it's called In America, a Lexicon on Fashion. Now, you may be wondering, what does lexicon mean? I personally didn't know what it meant before I saw it as a theme, and what it is a set of vocabulary for a person, a language, or a branch of knowledge. So in other words, they're talking about a lexicon, so a list of vocab, ways to describe something of American fashion. So it's kind of like the qualities that make up American fashion. In an interview with Andrew Bolton, who is the curator of the Costume Institute, he was kind of speaking on why they chose that theme this year, and it's because they were talking about what qualities make up American fashion. Now, American fashion is a lot more simplistic and functional versus European fashion that's a lot more elegant, artistic, and style-based rather than functionality. Andrew Bolton was really focusing on the emotions presented in European fashion versus American fashion. So this exhibit is going to be representing a classic American house, and every room in that house is going to be representing a different emotional quality of American fashion that we may not see all the time. Since we see very functional and practical pieces, he wants to interpret the more emotional sides of American fashion. That's all we really know about the exhibit itself. However, I want to talk about the dress code and what people are expected to wear. When guests received their invitation, it said that the dress code was American Independence. So this could be taken in many different ways. Something that I'm pretty confident on that will be happening, that a lot of people will be wearing, is new looks by really reputable American designers like Ralph Lauren, Oscar de la Renta, Marc Jacobs, and Calvin Klein. However, I do think a lot of people are going to get vintage dresses and looks from these designers and reworking them to focus on sustainability, because that's a huge thing going on in America right now. I think something else that we can expect is people to go actually literal with American independence and wearing red, white, and blue, maybe some stars, maybe wearing details of the American flag, red and white stripes. Who knows? And going off that, I think something else that someone will do, or maybe many people, will go political. Since the past 2 years, the US has kind of had a rocky road in regards to equality and politicians overall. I truly think that some people might make a political statement with what they're wearing. Also, I think people are going to do a lot with Halston because of the recent documentary that came out about him. I think he gained a lot of traction this past year, and especially for an American designer, he's definitely going to be an inspiration for many people's looks at this upcoming Met Gala. Check back into Newtown Fashion when the Met Gala is going on. I'm sure we'll have lots of content about it. And thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael. This is Michael on the Mic with Newtown Fashion, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.